Why can't we just neglect the world and make it about us?
Do you not love me or do you?
I don't look at you that way!
Watching Bling Empire on Netflix, the relationship between Kelly and Andrew is like an actual educational video about abuse and control. And that's exactly why we're here today, folks. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kelly Tang, and I hope you guys all enjoyed your Valentine's Day. So if you're wondering what I did for Valentine's Day, well, you're looking right at it. I'm sitting here making this video, so that's a pretty good indicator of how my love life is going. Contrary to what society and the media wants you to think, being in a relationship does not necessarily mean that you're happy. Some of you probably even avoided going on social media on Valentine's Day. Social media is very, very easy to manipulate. I think we should all know that by now. People can make you believe whatever they want you to believe about their lives, and I'm saying this as a girl. I used to be the queen. I am so good at making my relationships look good on social media. Like, I know all the cute poses and the captions and the editing cute videos. I've done it all, okay? But I would never admit to how damaged and unhealthy my relationship really is until today. So let's get started. So that brings us to the topic of today's video. Today, we're going to be taking a deeper dive into toxic relationships. If you've never seen one before, how to spot one and how to avoid it in the future, or maybe you're in one right now and you're just lying to yourself. Today, I'm really going to be challenging you to take a good hard look at your boyfriend, girlfriend, entanglements, situationships, and just really evaluate, really put them up to the test to see if they are meeting the bare minimum. But for real though, 99% of the time, if you're currently in a toxic relationship, you probably don't know, or you just don't want to admit it. But deep down, I bet you know that your man treats you like shit, and maybe you're not that great to him either, but you guys are arguing all the time, and your friends, they don't really like him that much. Your parents, they don't really like him that much either, but you love him so much, and they just don't see that good side that you see. Honey, you're lying to yourself. To guide our conversations today, we're going to be looking at a couple that has recently come into the public eye on a show called Bling Empire. Kelly and Andrew. If you've heard anything about the show, they've been the talk of the town, and it's not because they're the super cute couple. No, actually quite the opposite. And while I can relate to Kelly in a lot of ways, besides the fact that she's a multimillionaire and she's also like a decade older than me, if there's anything that this show has taught me about toxic relationships, it's that anyone can fall victim to this, and these same toxic patterns manifest anywhere, no matter who you are. By the way, I'm really sorry that I'm going to be using the word toxic so much. I hate that buzzword, but you're going to be hearing a lot today. This probably will not come as much of a surprise to some of you if you've been on my channel for a while or if you know me in real life, but unfortunately to say, and I don't like to remember this, but I used to be a walking toxicity magnet. You know, like manipulative people who are really good at manipulating, they have like a sixth sense. They can sense when someone's like insecure. Like, that's how fuckboys choose their targets, okay? They can sense that you can be easily taken advantage of, and that's how they will prey on you. Thankfully for me, that is not the case anymore. And I did want to say, I'm normally really not the type to talk about like celebrities, reality TV, internet drama, any of that stuff. But when I saw the show, I was screaming, okay? Because when I saw it, it looked like I was watching a well-documented replay of my own life. Like, I lived this relationship. Some of the things that came out of Andrew's mouth, I have literally word for word. It made me realize that toxic is the same everywhere. And like I said, anyone can fall prey to it. So honestly, I just want to come here and share my wisdom with you, because if I had to go through all of that BS, it may as well have been worth for something. I think there's a lot that you can learn from Kelly and Andrew's relationship as is portrayed on the show. And say what you will about reality TV and the over-dramatization and the staging, fakeness. Well, personally, I don't think it's faked, but it doesn't even matter. Whether or not it is, the type of relationship between Kelly and Andrew is very, very much real. All of it actually does exist in real life. So it doesn't really matter if Kelly's and Andrew's is 100% truthful to them, because it is true in the real world. We're simply using what we see here for educational purposes. Before we begin, I would love to ask if you would please like this video. It helps me out tremendously and it only takes a second. And also subscribe to my channel if you're new here. You can also hit the bell icon if you want to be notified every single time I post. And also just let me know if you like this kind of format of video, because this is something that I haven't really done on my channel before. But if you like this, if you find it interesting, let me know in the comments, or just hit the like button to let me know. So Bling Empire, I'm sure you guys are not living under a rock. You guys will know what this is, but in case you don't, Bling Empire is a reality TV show that was released on Netflix in January of 2021, and the best way to describe it is basically like Crazy Rich Asians. That movie that came out a few years ago, I'm sure you guys have all seen it. This is basically Crazy Rich Asians, except they're real people and it's set in Los Angeles, which is crazy to me. I genuinely did not know that there was this population of like millionaire, billionaire Asians just like roaming around LA. Now, Kelly, you may or may not know, is actually the producer of this show, and she's 35 years old and a self-made millionaire, super successful successful. Go girl.
I moved to Los Angeles for 2 reasons. 1 is to run away from a boy. 2 is to chase a boy. My ex-husband was arrested, and I didn't know at the time, but he was running one of the largest cyber scam in American history. Yeah, I didn't even know who I was sleeping next to. I only want to date for love now. I want to be with a guy who truly loves me for me and not have any other intentions. Oh my God, we have to go. And what they say about land lovers is not a lie.
So when you first meet Kelly and Andrew in the show, your first impression is like, wow, okay, a very hot, sexy couple. They seem very much in love, and you know, you're happy for Kelly because she was saying how she had a failed marriage in the past that was like built on lies and mistrust, so she really just wants to date for love, and it seems like she found that. So we're really happy for her. If anything, maybe a little bit jealous because you're like, damn, I wish I had a man like that. However, her friends do not seem to agree.
I mean, I've known Kelly for years, and like, is always having issues with Andrew. Always. I have no idea, but like, it's like never a dull moment.
I'm so annoyed.
Why?
Because Andrew just texted me and he's like so upset that we left him. I was like, we're sleeping. We don't even know we're leaving. Hi.
What the fuck is going on?
I don't know what's going on with you.
Your lack of effort drives me fucking crazy.
How is that lack of effort?
Because you can easily say, I'm not gonna leave this hotel until I let Andrew know.
You're way overreacting right now.
Come outside! I don't fucking drive that way!
Oh my God. Okay, girl, when I first saw this, I was screaming. I knew this was still gonna be true. Okay, so right off the bat, this incident that happens in Paris, this is going to be like the cornerstone of all the drama that happens in this show, at least in regards to their relationship. But oh my God, seriously, can this man, this is episode 1, keep in mind. He can't even hide his crazy for the camera. That's like red flag number 0. That's not even gonna make my list. I'm just laughing, picturing the cameraman in the hotel just like filming him like this. It's just like, I would be scared. Not even just the yelling part, it's the yelling in front of other people. He may have an anger issue that is so out of hand that he can't even hold it back to save face for himself. He knows that this is going on Netflix. This is going on television, okay? I ran straight for Twitter. I think it is a very telling sign that when you just search the word bling, the first suggested term is Bling Empire Andrew. I think that's already saying a lot by itself. I'm watching Bling Empire and I thought Andrew was so fucking hot, but cut to 10 minutes later, he's psychotic. The relationship between Kelly and Andrew is like an actual educational video about abuse and control. And that's exactly why we're here today, folks. Watching Bling Empire and I'm already not liking Andrew's temper. Simmer down, Power Ranger.
There ain't no dick that good.
But the worst part is, okay, I know everyone's making a huge deal out of Paris. This is gonna be like a hot topic for the rest of the season. They make a huge deal out of this event, but I know this is not the first time something like this has happened. This is not the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th time this has happened, and I will bet you all of the money in my bank account. You can tell Kelly's reaction to this, she's like not surprised.
I don't fucking drive that way!
Okay, bye.
Oh, now you're gonna hang up on me?
I'll text him back a little bit. Because like if I start texting him, it's just gonna be nonstop. Or if I call him, it's gonna be like nonstop.
She already knows like the best way to kind of handle the situation to like handle Andrew when he's acting like this. Like this is not new to her.
Jet lag sucks. So when Anna asked me to go shopping with her, I thought I was doing Andrew a favor by letting him sleep. But I was wrong.
I would never, would you want me to do that to you, yes or no?
I don't, like, the things that
Yes
you...
or no? I don't want to hear anything but yes or no.
I wouldn't care.
Yes or no? Keep it simple!
Also this, only accepting yes or no for an answer. And then when Kelly answers him, but it's not exactly what he asked for, this is considered an unacceptable answer. Here's why this is a red flag. I mean, I probably don't have to explain this very much, but by communicating this way, it shows that he's not actually listening. He's not actually trying to sort anything out here. He's not actually trying to problem solve. He just wants to lash out and let out all his anger onto Kelly.
Normally, he would like want me to be like stuck in a room with him until we work it out. And then sometimes it takes like 8 hours.
You have to understand, you didn't show any respect in what you were doing just by doing that.
Doing what?
You put our love first. I don't know why you want to hurt our relationship.
Ooh, okay. So when he says, you put our love first or you're hurting our relationship, that is also a red flag. He should never ask you to prioritize your relationship over other areas of your life. And he shouldn't guilt you into thinking that it should be your top priority. By saying things like, oh, you want to hurt our relationship? Do you even love me? That's a bad sign. That's a bad sign, BB.
In Paris, I made a mistake, and I'm aware of it now.
So now I want to do something for her that is a little bit different, and I want to surprise her.
I love you, honey.
Love you too, baby.
We've gone through so many like shifts in our relationship. Didn't come easy. That's what I value about that too. It's like we weathered all the storms and we did it hand in hand. You know what I mean?
Ah, gotta love this. After the big fight, there's always a grand romantic gesture. So look at them going on a little vacation and they have those rose petals in the bed. It's so romantic. And of course, you gotta have the deep talks about your relationship and how you guys have been through so much together and how you're gonna make it through. Happens every time.
You know, if we can stay like this forever, I think we'll have a really good life.
I love you.
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 I love you. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm like, we definitely have a lot of things to work on. We can't live in a dream world.
I see the girls talking about us in Paris. This is all just starting to rub in a trigger area for me.
Of course, it got around of what happened in Paris.
How did it get out? I mean, I just know this. We both moved on, right?
But the thing with Paris, you have to understand, is that like...
Why are we still talking about Paris? We need to put this thing to bed.
Well, you know, blew up. Like,
that's what I'd hope, that you'd stand your ground, draw a line in the sand and say, this is a man that worships me. Is this our relationship or is this the group of friends relationship? Do you understand? Because whatever happens between you and I, nobody knows. Nobody needs to know. Just say, you know what? Not talking about that. Like, our shit should not be in everyone's lives. I don't know what to say. Do you not love me or do you?
Stop. Another red flag. Something that I often see in toxic partner is that they will ask you or convince you that your issues should stay between the two of you, that you should never talk about with anybody else. Our issues are our issues. Oh, I hate that phrase.
Why can't we just neglect the world and make it about us?
Why does the world have to know this?
And it really makes you start to think that maybe Andrew is not as sorry as he is for lashing out on Kelly than he is for getting caught by Anna. Obviously, there is some truth to this. You should not be sharing your relationship issues with just everybody, especially if that means like oversharing on social media, but you absolutely should be confiding in your 1 to 2 closest friends or family members about your issues. Now, this is a huge mistake that I made in my past, and this is why this is a red flag. Andrew here obviously knows that if Kelly's friends know about his behaviors, then her friends would probably end up hating Andrew or try to get them to break up, which, I mean, this is true. That's exactly what happened. Both Anna and Kevin both go to some great lengths to try and get them to break up. Anna, because she is a genuine concerned friend.
I'm not here to judge her. Although Andrew, on the other hand, I would love to judge.
Kevin, because he wants to get in Kelly's pants.
I know she's in a relationship, but man, I wish Kelly would just kiss me already.
And even though it may be Andrew's idea to keep it a secret, I'm sure Kelly is not so against the idea either, because she probably already knows what her friends are gonna say. But that's where a lot of the danger can come. See, I didn't tell my friends all the problems in our relationship until after we broke up, because at that point I'm like, oh, well, I don't have to listen to what he tells anymore, so I'll just tell them everything. And to be clear, this is just like my close friends and my parents and my siblings, so just the people that needed to know. I think only my closest friends kind of had an inkling of what was going on, but even then it was only the tip of the iceberg. When I finally let it spill to them all my stories, and it took like several hours to get through all of them, they were shocked, like, 'cause they had no idea that all this is going on. And honestly, if I probably had told them along the way as it was happening, they probably could have convinced me that I need to get out of this way sooner than I did. I'd also gone through all these like breakups, get back together, break up, get back together, but the way that I made sure that like the final breakup was the final time was when I spilled everything out. Oh my gosh, it felt so freeing, because for all these years I'd actually tried really hard to make my boyfriend or just my relationship in general look very perfect, especially to like my family, like my parents. But I knew once I told them all the stories, everything came out, then there was no going back. It's kind of like placing insurance for myself. Like, if I ever want to go back to him, if I'm ever tempted, then I know that my family and friends will stop me. I can't get past them anymore. So while of course there is some truth in not sharing your relationship issues with everyone, you gotta find that balance and trust maybe 1 to 2 of your closest friends or family members, because they are going to see things that you can't, or things that you just don't want to see.
I overreacted and I'm sorry. I'm not happy with my actions, I'll be honest with you. I raised my voice at you and pushed you away. And we're both still learning. We have a lifetime to learn, and I want to learn it with you.
A trait of someone that you might not want to be in a relationship is someone who can talk their way out of anything. Those people are likely very good liars, good manipulators, they make empty promises, they give great apologies, I love you and I'm gonna change next time, baby. Honestly, for some people who are like this, I genuinely don't think that some of them even know what they're doing is wrong or that they are purposely manipulating you. Or at least I just want to believe that because I want to believe the best of people.
I know he wants to change, he just doesn't know how to. But I think there's hope.
And I don't know, on the other hand, this person could also just be like super charismatic, very persuasive. Maybe he was on like the debate team or something. What matters is they don't hold true to their word. They can be very, very convincing when they're apologizing to you and telling you how they're gonna be better for next time. And obviously as a partner, you want to believe the best in them and hope that they can be better, and they are taking advantage of that. Actions speak louder than words, and they are most oftentimes relying on their words. Honey, if your man's is willing to lie to his friends or his parents, there's no reason that he wouldn't be willing to lie to you. I know you want to believe that you're special to him and that you're the only one who can make this boy a softie. To tell you the truth, maybe it can be like that for a little while, 6 months, a year, but eventually the truth comes out and the truth hurts.
Why does the world have to know this?
Just to speed things up and give you an overall view of what happens with a relationship. So they are going to these couples therapy sessions.
What have you been fighting about?
Just small stuff that just gets escalated really fast.
A lot of our fights are like really little. End of the day for me, it's not about that specific fight.
The fights just don't stop.
Ooh, another red flag. When you and your partner are always arguing, but when you think about it, you can't really recall what you were arguing about. It seems like you guys just like to argue and you don't know how to keep it from happening. This is a sign that the things you guys are arguing about is just BS. These are just like arbitrary topics that don't really matter. These are not any deeper relationship issues that you guys actually have to work out. You guys just like arguing. Hello, just cutting in here to clarify. So it's actually worse to always be fighting over small, pointless things than to be sometimes fighting about larger, important issues. Because if you're fighting about bigger things, then at least you could either solve it or just break up. If you find yourself always having these pointless fights that come out of nowhere, then they can happen without warning and they don't actually advance your relationship in any way. Something that I learned that legitimately shocked me, okay, I used to think that it was normal for couples to argue maybe like once a week or once every 2 weeks. I thought that was normal. But then I found out that like healthy relationships, a couple is supposed to argue like once a year, like hardly ever. And it should never be explosive or violent. And genuinely, I have no idea where I got the idea that arguing once a week was normal. And because I thought that, I was like, okay, so that means we argue just a little bit more than the average couple. Meaning we argued on average maybe like every other day. Oh gosh, isn't it exhausting? Probably if you've been in a relationship like this before, you feel the same way as me. Just watching their arguments is so draining.
I didn't realize you were gonna go crazy. It just went on and on and on and on. You were really
I was worried.
heated.
I was worried.
No, you weren't worried.
Right
You get
now,
really
I was
extreme.
worried. Why can't you look into my eyes
When
and
you
just
get
believe
really
me?
extreme, you can't calm down.
I don't know what to say. Do you not love me or do you?
And yeah, maybe you're tired from just watching this like 2-minute edited clip of their argument. But for them, this goes on for hours and this happens all the time. I'm just saying, experiencing that kind of stress all week cannot be good for your skin. However, when they're at therapy, we do learn that Drew's behavior is a result of some abandonment issues from when he was a child.
The abandonment is with your mother and father, but you're experiencing it as if Kelly's abandoning you.
And unfortunately, now he's just projecting that onto Kelly.
You have to separate Kelly from your parents.
So okay, maybe Andrew's not necessarily such a bad, evil person, and the way that he is maybe isn't necessarily his fault, but it's still not an excuse for emotional or verbal abuse. Like sure, maybe the way you were raised is not your fault, but the way that you act now is your responsibility, and you can't be roping other people and projecting your issues onto them. That's not their problem. Then we come to their final couples therapy session when they decide, or Kelly decides, that they want to break up.
The thing is that like we love each other so much, but it's not healthy. It's so toxic.
What you really want is a period of separation. Am I correct about that?
Yes, I want to break the cycle, yes. I just know that this is not the kind of relationship I should be in, that he should be in.
Proud of you, girl. They have alluded to the fact that in the past they have broken up before, but it was never really serious. They always just got back together. But this time, it's the final time. Andrew is actually going to be moving out and finding a new place to stay. However, Andrew, on the other hand, is not really willing to cooperate. And the therapist even calls him out for this.
We have a wonderful, beautiful life. It's just not a perfect life. And it's okay.
I don't think so.
We will work on
Andrew,
ourselves.
Andrew,
I'm going to work on myself.
You cannot get better until you have a preference for living in reality.
I only live in reality. If she would say, Drew, 100%, I don't want to be with you anymore, goodbye, I would respect that. But
she
I'm gonna
did
move
say
forward.
it. She did say it.
I'm committed.
Andrew, please. It seems that in the past, through his sweet talking and gaslighting, that he's been able to convince Kelly that their relationship is going to be better, that he's going to be better, and that they're going to be fine. It's finally come to a point when Kelly has said enough.
Would you mind if I talk to Kelly for a few minutes alone? I want to explore individually with her what she really wants.
Yeah.
You can just help yourself out.
I'll be back.
Allow us to be the light in our dark times and to be light around other people. Encompass us. Bring us closer to you, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray.
I don't know about you, but something about that just doesn't sit right with me. Okay guys, let me tell you about something. And I'm not necessarily saying that Andrew was doing this, but this is just what it reminded me of. And I have to, oh my gosh, this is my biggest pet peeve, okay? Just because you have a Bible verse in your Instagram bio does not mean you're a good person. And what do I mean by this? Performative religion. I'm sure all of you have a few people in your lives where, you know, they love to talk a big game. You know, they got their Bible verse in their Instagram bio. They like to talk about God and church on their Facebook statuses. And sure, there's nothing actually wrong with doing any of this in general, obviously. But this person in reality, you know, is like a drug dealer or like a literal rapist. The problem comes when people use religion as a tool to make themselves look like a better person, to gain empathy from other people, or to feed into the delusion that they're truly a good person because God forgives all their sins. They can be hitting their girlfriend Saturday night, but as long as they repent on Sunday morning, then all is well. And in my humble opinion, that is one of the most despicable kinds of human beings on this planet. And again, I'm not saying that Andrew's necessarily doing this. That's just what it reminded me of. Something about that just did not seem right. It seemed very out of character for Andrew to suddenly be doing that in the middle of a waiting room. Again, I know very little about who Andrew is. I don't really know how religious he is. It's also possible that like the producers or whatever wanted him to do that for the show. That also could be part of it. But anyways, this also kind of leads into our next red flag, which is crocodile tears. If you don't know what crocodile tears is, it basically means like fake crying or acting all sad and apologetic when in reality you're just a manipulative bitch. Sorry. It's a form of emotional manipulation, and especially for people who are super like empathetic or just like really nice, kind-hearted people, it's hard for them to not fall prey to this. The manipulator knows that if you tug on this person's heartstrings, then you can basically control them to do anything you want.
I just hoped and prayed and worked. It wasn't enough.
I only live in reality.
Yeah, but anyways.
Really haven't slept for 2 days, but I feel
You haven't slept for 2 days. Well, you don't look it.
We broke up.
What?
Yay, so they're officially broken up. And dang, can I say, Kelly looks better than ever. Like, this is unrelated, but I'm just very impressed with how put together she is after a breakup. I'm surprised she didn't do something crazy with her hair. But spoiler alert, they do end up relapsing, so to speak. They end up meeting up again a number of times afterwards in secret.
I understand there's reasons why we broke up, but there's a lot more reasons why we should have stayed together.
But don't you see we were in a really bad cycle? There's always two voices in my head when it comes to Drew. Kelly one's always like, hey, Kelly, get him out of your house and it's bad and you're playing with fire.
Thank you. Cheers.
But Kelly two's always like, oh, look at him. He's so sweet. He changed his time.
You look beautiful.
And Kelly 2 always, for some reason, kicks Kelly 1 in the butt.
Kelly actually goes to great lengths to avoid letting her friends find out that they've been meeting, and she just also flat out lies to them when they ask.
I haven't talked to him. I haven't seen him.
Really?
Yeah.
Not at all?
Did you do that?
Tell me that you're not back talking to Andrew. Did you sleep with him again?
No, what are you talking about?
Swear to God, cross your heart.
For real, I promise.
Kelly, tell me the truth.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, you're back with him again?
I'm like, I'm not lying to you, I swear. I'm so sick of explaining myself and repeating myself. Like, stop lying to me. I'm like, I'm not lying to you.
So now we see Kelly is trying really hard to keep this relationship a secret, which is interesting because Andrew is the one who wanted to keep everything a secret before. However, it's for a totally different motivation. For Andrew, he wanted to keep their issues and their fights during their relationship a secret from her friends. For her, this secret is more of something that's like indulging in a guilty pleasure, something that she knows that she shouldn't have, but she just can't help herself. Honestly though, in my opinion, I think it's normal for exes to like secretly meet up with each other after they break up, especially if you've been together for such a long time. It can be shocking waiting for this person to just suddenly disappear from your life. So you just kind of want to ease out of it. It may be a lot harder to fight your temptation to get back together, but you know, if you think you have a strong enough will, and also if you place insurance like me and you told all your friends and family about all the shit, so you know that if you got back together, like, they would not come to your wedding, then I think it's okay. That's just my thoughts. I don't think there's anything wrong with seeing your ex a couple times after you break up. I just think that's just normal. Doesn't everyone do that? But if you feel such an intense amount of shame that you need to lie to all your friends every time they ask you at it, maybe that's your better conscience trying to tell you something.
I should have known better. Hooking up with the ex definitely is not the way to go. There's no point for us to see each other. I did see him.
To do what? Separate your stuff.
And we made out.
You made out?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh my God.
I knew it!
I feel like I should fess up just because we're really good friends, and I hate feeling that I'm hiding something from them.
Now, of course, there's a question of how do relationships even turn toxic in the first place? Obviously, this all depends on the couple. Every person, every situation is different. However, toxic relationships usually start out as the most thrilling, all-consuming, crazy, passionate loves. And quite honestly, you probably feel a much more passionate, intense love than your friends who are in healthy, stable relationships. A lot of times these relationships can end up happening if one or both of the partners start out the relationship in a place of insecurity, or meaning that they truly weren't actually ready for a relationship. While here, sometimes people enter relationships for the wrong reasons, or just at the wrong timing. I think too often people use getting into a relationship as a crutch to avoid their other problems, their unresolved traumas, a rebound for an ex that they're not over, anything of the sort, but it's not really going to solve your problems. For a while, it can definitely drown those problems out, but after the honeymoon phase starts to wear off, those underlying problems are still there, and they can later fester into an unhealthy cycle of love. All of this can lead to codependency, and obviously it doesn't help if one of them is a narcissist, has anger management issues, is a compulsive liar, or has a lot of unresolved trauma, or is just a plain old abuser. From an outside perspective, you may be wondering, why did these people even stay in these relationships? It doesn't make any sense. Isn't it obvious that this guy is not good for you?
What the fuck do you get out of this relationship?
Now here, Kelly says something that I disagree with.
In front of Anna, I don't think we've showed the best self. If she really gets to know you better, I feel like she will see what I see in a sense, because she didn't get the full picture of you know, of how amazing you are and then the other part of you. I get mad about that, I get mad about this, but at the end of the day, like, it's amazing, you know?
Just because one half of the relationship is super, super great does not dismiss the other half that is harmful. And Kelly, have you noticed all the good times that you so speak of between you and Andrew all happen to be the ones that happen with you in private? Kelly and Andrew have been dating for years, and she's been friends with all the rest of the cast members for years, but they all seem to have the same negative impression about Andrew. What exactly is that saying about your relationship? But in Kelly's defense, sure, her friends probably only hear about all the bad parts of the relationship because that's the only thing that's kind of worth talking about. They only see their lowest lows, but what they don't know is that each of those lowest lows is matched with an equally high high. This is the addicting pattern of a toxic relationship. Even though you have a really, really bad time, somehow it's rewarded in your mind with amazing, super romantic memories too. It's dramatic, it's spicy, it's got that flavor. Like in my experience, why it was so hard to leave my relationship is that our fights only got increasingly worse as the relationship went on. And after a certain point, every single fight we had would result in the conclusion that we should break up. But remember, there's hardly ever any time in a relationship when it's just neutral. It's either very low or very high. So once the fight was over and we had cooled down enough to be able to like discuss the logistics of breaking up, we'd suddenly be doing great again. And I couldn't possibly imagine, what was I even thinking? Like, there's no way I could break up with this person. We're so in love. And then it just wouldn't happen. That happened like every single week. However, I actually knew 2 months into my relationship that I should break up, but I purposely didn't because, going back to what I was talking about before, I entered this relationship at a point when I was very insecure. But I genuinely remember that I didn't want to break up because I wanted to be able to say that I was in a relationship that had passed the 6-month mark, the 1-year mark, like to be able to prove to whoever that I am capable of holding a long-term relationship. I purposely stayed with this person when at 2 months I already knew he was going to be treating me like shit. I stayed because I just wanted to be able to say that I had a long-term relationship. That is so stupid. Because growing up I received zero like negative male attention, so I kind of always thought that maybe there's something wrong with me, no one's ever gonna like me. Then when I finally have a boyfriend, I feel like the stakes are so much higher for me to make it successful because I never had any of these like random relationships relationships in like middle school and high school. Like, this is a big deal for me. And also what comes with it is just pride. You know, you want to be able to prove that you can make it work. Your friends have been judging you, your parents have been judging you. It's dumb because your friends and family who actually love you, they just want the best for you. But sometimes you just don't want to listen and you want to be the one that's right. And it can also be really hard to tell if you're in a toxic relationship if you're currently in one, because the love, it's making you blind. You're delusional, honey. I'm just kidding. It's because it probably started out as something perfect, but over time it gradually turned into something so ugly that you don't even recognize. But you still have those vivid memories of when it was perfect, and you have this hope that it can always return back to that place. But I'm telling you right now, once it's gotten to this place, it's practically impossible for it to ever return. For that reason, you probably convince yourself that this person is the one because of how in love you feel with him. If this is the most in love you've ever felt, then doesn't that mean that this is the person that's right for you? Not exactly. Unfortunately, part of growing up is realizing that love is not actually the most important element in a successful relationship. Love and attraction is super important, but there's also compatibility, healthy communication, stability, something some of us have never experienced before. This also kind of brings about the fun topic that I'm curious what you guys' opinion on, so please let me know. Would Kelly and Kevin be a good couple together? Okay, if you know me, this is a really strange sentence for me to say. He's kind of staged as like the main character in the show, but he's basically like the broke bitch of the show. He's like the one poor guy that they let into the cast.
If you can't be rich, at least have rich friends.
He's a model.
He's a model.
Wait, why do you do air quotes?
He always finds a reason to be shirtless.
It's really hard to flex your abs all day long. Like this. You have to hold your breath.
And quite frankly, I feel like sometimes he has a maturity level of some college freshman boys that I know. Except that he's 35. Anyways, he's been interested in Kelly since day one, and he has made that clear, even though he knows damn well that she has a boyfriend.
But enough about me.
Okay, what?
Are you single yet?
So naturally, Kevin Krieger made his moves on her as soon as Kelly and Andrew were broken up.
Kelly just needs some Asian dick again.
I mean, to be honest, at the beginning of the show, I did think that they'd be a cute couple together because, I mean, come on, Andrew.
Andrew talks like an alpha, but he's really more like a couch potato.
But come on, Kevin, that's kind of a douche move. So I kind of lost a little bit of respect for him after that. And also just kind of throughout the show, there were some incidents where I just kind of realized that maybe Kevin is like, he's not the smartest cookie.
Hermes. ERMES. Okay, what is the E silent?
I really don't think that Kevin's that intelligent. I think life is really fair. He has a great body, perfect abs, perfect face. But in terms of like brain cells, I think God might have like just given him a little less.
So she did agree to go on a date with him, which was super awkward.
Salsa. It's perfect time to kiss someone, especially for the first time.
I feel like we're like super close.
Well, you're supposed to be. They have this thing called the dip, and I dip. It's lined up.
It's like so close.
Except for Kelly's face. I mean, you should just be able to go. Ready,
I don't know if this is just the way that they edited this, but oh my god, how many times did Kevin try to kiss her? This is so cringy.
I really had a good time. Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I guess I'll go this way.
I'm screaming.
You know, I'm here with Kevin, but in my mind, I just keep thinking about Drew. Now I know I'm just not emotionally ready to date somebody new.
And then she ended up friend zoning Kevin like later that week.
I don't know, I see you as like a brother to me. You know?
Brother? Oh my god.
Now, if you finally do leave a toxic relationship, first of all, congratulations. But why is it so hard to find a new, healthy relationship afterwards?
Yeah, it gets rocky. It gets rocky. I don't want that 180 relationship. We get 360. When I'm gonna love you, I'm gonna love you and everything that goes
180 is good because 360, you just go back to where you were.
Well, you can go 360, but then you evolve, like the planet.
So here, Andrew is, in a way, romanticizing the high levels of drama in the relationship. So when you finally do find a stable, normal, healthy relationship, you actually instead perceive it as boring.
Where's the flavor?
So in the very last episode of the season, the cast is celebrating with one of the couples, and they're having like a very fun romantic party.
Watching Jesse and Cherie in love and engaged now makes me so happy. This is what love is. And it makes me realize how hard it is to find somebody.
And this is how the season ends. you can only imagine what happens after that. So this show was actually filmed in 2019, but they just did like a reunion episode with the cast in 2021.
Kelly, I have a question everyone wants to know. Are you and Andrew still together?
We took a 5 to 6 month break after filming and just worked on ourselves, and now we're back together and we're doing better than ever. I am more in love than I've ever been.
And honestly, I get why they did it. I completely do. Even though I personally don't think it's a good idea, I'm not judging them for it.
I'm not here to judge her. Although Andrew, on the other hand, I would love to judge.
Dating only gets more complicated as you get older. There's more factors that come into play and these outside influences. Plus, of course, your biological clock is going to be ticking. So if you want to have this traditional family, husband, kids, then you don't really have that much time left. And especially if you want to do it the right way, you should probably be single for around a year or so to just heal and learn to love to be single. But all of that takes a lot of time that you feel like you don't have, and it's all easier said than done. And also, I don't want to bash them because I know even though this is a reality TV show, these are real people and they are their real lives, and a fact that for some reason many people seem to forget, that just because they have a lot of money and they're semi-famous does not mean that criticism and hate doesn't hurt them. So at the end of the day, they can do whatever they want. But to Kelly, girl, listen to the fortune teller. There will be more men for you. And to Andrew, I think you have some of your own issues you need to work out first. Realistically, for the kind of relationship that they've had, I don't think it's possible for them to truly have a healthy, stable relationship in the future. I think more likely than not, what's going to happen is that they're going to end up exactly where they started, just broken up, but this time 1, 3, 5 years older. And again, this is not coming from a place of hate, instead just concern and empathy, and also just knowing this firsthand. And I am glad that it was so well documented because this is a very important educational tool that we're using here today. So I want to end this by reading you this poem that is one of the most profound pieces that I've ever read. I first discovered this back in high school before I'd ever been in love or been in a relationship before, and yeah, I thought it was really interesting. But every single time I've been through a new relationship and a heartbreak, I've referred back to this and it only gets more and more true. This is the 3 loves theory. I'm sure a lot of you may have heard of it. I know the concept of it has been circulating a lot more recently, but I really like this specific rendition of it, so I want to read part of it to you. It's called "We only fall in love with 3 people in our lifetime, each one for a specific reason." And I'm really only going to be focusing on the second one and a little bit of the third one, but I'll leave it in the description if you want to read the full thing. I highly suggest it, but here we go. Falling in love the first time, the love that looks right. Falling in love the second time, the hard love. The second is supposed to be our hard love, the one that teaches us lessons about who we are and how we often want or need to be loved. This is the kind of love that hurts, whether through lies, pain, or manipulation. Our second love can become a cycle, oftentimes one we keep repeating because we think that somehow the ending will be different than before. Sometimes it's unhealthy, unbalanced, or narcissistic even. There may be emotional, mental, or even physical abuse or manipulation. Most likely, there will be high levels of drama. This is exactly what keeps us addicted to the storyline, because it's the emotional roller coaster of extreme highs and lows, and like a junkie trying to get a fix, we stick through the lows with the expectation of the high. With this kind of love, trying to make it work becomes more important than whether it actually should. It's the love we wished was right. Falling in love the third time, the love that lasts. And the third love is a love we never see coming. This is the love that comes so easy it doesn't seem possible. It's the kind where the connection can't be explained and knocks us off our feet because we never planned for it. It's the love that just feels right. Possibly we need a whole lifetime to learn each lesson, or maybe if we're lucky, it only takes a few years. And then there may be those who fall in love once and find it passionately lasts until their last breath. Someone once told me they're the lucky ones, and perhaps they are. But I think that those who make it to their third love are really the lucky ones. Just because it has never worked out before doesn't mean that it won't work out now. We can all choose to stay with our first love, the one that looks good and will make everyone else happy. We can choose to stay with our second, under the belief that if we don't have to fight for it, then it's not worth having. Or we can make the choice to believe in the third love. Maybe there's something special about our first love, and something heartbreakingly unique about our second, but there's also just something pretty amazing about our third. The one we never see coming, the one that actually lasts, the one that shows us why it never worked out before. Although I would never wish a toxic relationship on anyone, I do believe that if you do go through one, it's not the worst thing in the world. In fact, I think it teaches you some really important lessons, and it builds character. You learn a lot from it. and Ariana Grande's Thank You Next never feels more true. So whether or not Kelly and Andrew do end up together, either way, I wish them the best, but I hope that you can take a look at this and really evaluate what you're looking for in a relationship, what your standards are, and what you're not willing to settle for. That's going to be the end of today's video. If you guys enjoyed it or if it was helpful to you, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Let me know your opinion down in the comments or if I missed any red flags, and I will see you next time. Bye!
If this is why does it break me down? Why do you break me down?
There ain't no dick that good.